Welcome to Mojo Talks, where we explore the world through stories. I'm Mayur Channagere, visual storyteller and your host.
To all our amazing listeners and viewers, Team Mojo Talks with Mayur Channagere wishes you a bright, joyful, and a prosperous Diwali. This festival of lights is all about spreading positivity. And we are celebrating this special episode on wealth management. Not just about money, but about creating a truly meaningful and fulfilling life. But before that, let's do a quick recap.
I just enjoyed the entire process of shooting. Okay, the battery ran out. I didn't have a spare. My battery ran out and I could not record any of the picture. Went trekking towards the Annapurna base camp. That was my first trip into the Himalayas, and wherever the British went, they went to funding the operations there. So the Chettiars funding operations for across Southeast Asia. Essence of Seva here is to progress spiritually. And it's not just a joy. You have let go everything.
Just want to kind of get back to what you had said earlier about how Amama gave you 10 rupees to buy the film roll. I know 10 rupees back then was a huge sum. Knowing what my grandparents and Amama Tatagara went through, right? I mean, it was not that they came from means. And then the sacrifices they did, and it was not, financially it was not very comfortable in the initial years. But seeing that growing up, did that kind of also help or change your viewpoint towards money?
Definitely. The attitude to money in our later life is always a result of our upbringing, of our environment. There's no way you can diverse the two.
True.
All right? But there are two possible things that can happen. Okay. From the kind of upbringing or the background that we have come from, one thing we have learned is the value of money.
True.
All right. True. And that teaches us to be careful with money in our later lives or value it sufficiently. The other thing that can happen is that coming from an upbringing or a childhood of scarcity and then coming into sufficient prosperity could make you spend endlessly. Okay, so this can erupt in two ways. One is continuing and understanding the value. A second, coming from an era of scarcity, like a very, very hungry, starving man given a lot of food will have indigestion.
True.
When they eat so much. Correct? So you should be very careful not to go down the second path. I have seen in my professional career both happen. Those who are careful, like me, and those who have just go to the other end of the spectrum and splurge. And when we try and understand why are they splurging, it comes down to the fact that they didn't have enough in their younger days. But then they should be taught that this is a way to be leading a sustainable life.
Correct.
Learn to value money because it doesn't grow on trees. Somebody has to work hard for it to get it.
Or somebody has worked hard for it.
Somebody has worked very hard for it in the past and given it to you. And you have to make it sustainable. So if we understand the history, we can sort of find a solution. But both happen. I've happily, thankfully, gone on the conservative path.
So coming to, at Hexagon Wealth, you do a lot of planning across the board, right? Right from entrepreneurs, young families to retirees. So across the board, you also manage their estates. In fact, I don't know if I can say this, but you're the will executors of many of your clients.
True.
Right? So you see this across the thing. But if you were to look at one core age group, what would that be?
The most common age group in our set of clients is that 45 plus kind of thing. All right.
Okay.
And for a long time, I was wondering why is it that this was the age group that I had. then I realized that that is when the reality of life hits.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
The midlife crisis.
Because by then they've progressed in career, they have a family, and they're feeling the pressures of bringing up children, the costs, and then they know that there's an end of the road for it.
End of the road.
And begins
aging
to worry.
parents.
Yes. And it begins to worry them. Do I have enough to carry on through my post-working life? Okay. And they have a few sleepless nights, talk to friends or relatives, and then realize that there's somebody called a financial planner to help them out. And they find out who's a trusted person. And somehow, for many of them, the road leads to us at Hexagon. Okay. So and they're most receptive at that time because they're feeling it. It is when they're feeling the pain that the solution is easily accepted.
Correct.
Very few have the foresight to look for a solution even before the pain happens.
Thankfully, I've been one of the recipients.
Yes.
Where, you were there.
Yeah.
This is something which I keep telling a lot of people.
Yeah.
Once I came back and started working, the first year, you said, go blow your salary. Go spend it all. Do what you want. You want to travel, party, do what you want, but blow that first year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to question it.
Yeah.
But year 2 onwards, you're going to start your financial planning. Right? And that made a difference because that gave me that planning at that point. It was just a simple SIP, which didn't really pinch my bank balance at that point. But that made a huge difference at a much later point when I decided to quit. That became my cushion, right? And then from there on, it grew. It continues to be a cushion. But that coming at that early point was very important. And you coming there and giving me the advice like you have done in everything in my life when it comes to financial planning was very key, right? And we see that happen, like you said, the age group between 40, especially today.
Yeah. So today, if a youngster came to me and asked for advice on what to do with the first year's salary, it would not be the same that I told you.
Things have
I would
changed.
not ask them to blow up the first year's salary because things have changed so much.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think one has to be far more watchful of the environment. The same kind of extrapolation cannot happen anymore. The security is not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Hence, I would then ask them to start saving early on and find a better balance. Not splurge one year and save heavily the next year. I'd probably say, find your balance, experience what you want to. At the same time, you should save. So I would just turn the equation. Okay. Savings is not equal to income minus expense.
Okay.
All right. Income minus savings is equal to expense.
True. People always
Save.
get that wrong.
Yes. First, save what you have to save, and what is left over can be spent. Okay, so that is where you find a balance. Now, why am I so worried about the younger generation today and that they should be more careful and watchful? It is what happened somewhere a couple of years before COVID hit, that one of my ex-colleagues, one of my old colleagues, came to me and wanted a retirement plan. He said, I need to know if I can live the rest of my life with the savings that I have. I said, why is that? You still have many more years to go. He says, no, I get the sense that I would be fired.
Wow.
All right. I
How
said,
old was
how
he?
so? At that point of time, he was less than 50.
Okay.
Alright.
So
I
I'm
said-
assuming he was in quite a senior executive level.
Oh, yes. He was the country manager
Oh, wow. Okay.
for a European multinational and a brilliant man, an IIT postgraduate and all that. So I knew him to be brilliant, and I could not figure out why somebody would want to fire a man as brilliant as that. Okay, and but so turns out that the industry has been going through a shift, and that was only one of the indications. Okay, so as they say, the canary in the coal mine was this instance when I realized that a number of people in the middle to senior management who are in the 50 kind of age group were becoming a burden for corporates, for the tech companies. They were no longer productive. They were a younger set of people with the same knowledge and better skills at a lower cost.
price. Yeah.
And they didn't need this mid management and senior management people anymore. So there's a huge risk that was building up because of the changes that were happening, that this set of people cannot be complacent anymore. They need to be on their toes, upskilling at that age or becoming irrelevant.
They become
That
irrelevant.
has become worse today.
Yeah.
The irrelevance is happening at a much younger age.
Almost at the age of 30, 35.
Yes, it is now regardless of age. Because with the advent of artificial intelligence tools, people may find themselves irrelevant at 25.
Much faster pace.
If they don't have the skill set when they are graduating, they are irrelevant to begin with.
True.
And you could discover yourself to be irrelevant at 25, 30, 35, 40.
So age doesn't matter anymore.
Age is not anymore the
criteria.
criteria. It's what skills you have. Can that skill be replaceable by an artificial intelligence engine? If so, you're irrelevant. So, if I have to ask or give life planning advice or financial planning advice, I'll say keep enough money to skill yourself first.
Okay.
The goose that lays the golden eggs is your skill set.
Skill set. And I think even 3 years back, this was not a priority bucket.
It wasn't.
It has changed now.
Yes. But having seen this instance of my colleague and that client who became a client of ours, I say, please pay attention to reskilling. Keep enough money to reskill yourself, whatever age you are. Unless you're saying, okay, doesn't matter. If I become irrelevant, I've got enough savings to live the rest of my life. Okay,
Correct.
that is my choice. Otherwise, keep enough money. So the core of this reskilling, keep emergency expenses. You do not know when you're going to get fired. Keep 6 to 12 months of expenses as an emergency bucket.
fund. Yeah.
And then spend, please.
So, I mean, this just leads to another. Again, I've been talking to a lot of people, friends, family, who are in that age group, right? One is, of course, the financial security. Some have done really well in terms of, financial salaries, income. Startup founders who have done well exited. Some haven't, but still. But one thing that is common is that the financial planning aspect of the financial, not planning, but financial security aspect of it more or less adds to 60 to 70% of your stress. Right? So how should one tackle that? One is, of course, plan. If you haven't planned and at the age of 30 plus, you realize, I hope it's not too late.
Yeah.
So how does one tackle? First, the stress part of it. Second is the financial planning, someone who starts late.
Okay. Why does one experience stress? Stress happens because you do not know what is going to be happening to you tomorrow. It's the uncertainty element that causes stress.
Correct.
So you need to bring about a degree of certainty into your life to take away that stress. That entire process of financial planning is to show you that there is some certainty in life, or that you can adopt a route which will give you a certainty in life. Okay. So somebody who's in their 30s, who's married, who maybe has children later on, the worry is what would happen to my loved ones if I ran out of a job, or if I suddenly something happened to me. Correct? That causes stress. What if I got fired a few years down the line? And all these pressures build up and they cause stress. But when they come to us and we show them a path that, hey, let's do a simple working, which is like working backwards. Okay. So what do you do when you want to construct a house? Okay. You decide how many rooms you want. You decide how big the site is and how big the house has to be, how many rooms, how many bathrooms, what is the living room, kitchen, garden, all this you bring, and then you plan and then you build. The exact same process we want to follow with your life. Okay? What do you want to do in life? What do you want from life? Okay? So at the base level, you want to ensure that you are going to lead a good retirement. That is actually one of the biggest pressures. Very funnily, if you're looking at your lifespan of say 95 years, okay, the first 23 years you're spent, you're a sponge. You're spending money to educate yourself.
Correct.
Okay. And then between 23 and 60, okay, those 35 odd years, you are earning money. And the next 45 odd years, you have to spend the money. Hopefully you have money to spend.
True.
When you're retired, the income stops. So the number of years that you spend without income is far more than the number of years that you spend earning. So you understand the criticality of this. Okay. And inflation is the biggest monster out there. People don't understand the impact of that. So if you are able to say, okay, you want to maintain this kind of a lifestyle, okay, based on your current lifestyle, we can extrapolate and say this is a lifestyle you want to maintain. Then we can sort of figure out how much money you need to live every month, factoring in inflation. Okay, so that is one critical part. Then you want to have some money kept away from medical emergencies, in spite of having an insurance. All right. Then you want to have some money to get your kids educated. If you're still in your 30s or 40s, then you need to pay for your kids undergraduate, postgraduate, India, America, wherever in the world you want to send them. It's going to cost a packet of money.
Yeah.
If they're not brilliant enough to get scholarships. Okay. Those who are brilliant enough are a small percentage.
Very, very small.
The rest of them have to pay through their education. Correct?
Yes.
And so the parent, any Asian parent, is giving highest priority to the children's education. May not happen as much in the West, but very much in Asia. Okay, so education costs a packet, weddings cost a packet, buying a house costs a packet. Do you know that the affordability of houses in India is far lesser than in the West? The multiple of the cost of a home versus your income is very, very high in India. As compared to the rest of the world. Which means that they're not easily affordable. That's what it means. Yes. But we all want a house. We want a roof above our head, which we call our own. It's so deeply emotional.
True. Okay. And we people end up taking huge loans, not realizing.
Correct. Yes. And that's when people think that, oh, I'm buying a house once in a lifetime. Let me buy a 4 BHK or a 3 BHK. I don't need it, but I'm buying
it.
And then unnecessarily you're getting into a rut of overspending. But once we put these goals together and show what are the savings required to achieve these goals after so many years, what is the rate of return you need to do, how much do you need to save, there's a path, there's a solution. And that immediately de-stresses.
Agreed. You follow this path, you follow this whole journey, and then you say, okay, this is what I need to save today. Say, to retire in about X number of years. You say you're de-stressed, at least you have a path. Now, let's take a common man, anyone for that matter, right? He already has EMIs, he already has expenses, and a very limited salary that's coming in.
Right.
Now, in addition to all these expenses and EMIs, you're adding another factor into it.
Right.
Do you think it's going to de-stress or stress them more?
No. There's a realization and then they have to make compromises. Okay. So somewhere they have to probably cut down on discretionary expense.
What if there's no discretionary expense? What if someone's living just from your paycheck to paycheck with absolutely no discretionary expenses?
It doesn't happen like that. Okay. So the one thing is, suppose it does happen that they are living to paycheck like many of them are, many people are, you have to bring your lifestyle down. Either you have to earn more or spend less. There's no third way. The only third way is getting a huge inheritance. Okay.
Which rarely happens.
So if that is not there in the equation, there's no other way. There's no miracle happening. So you have to compromise on your lifestyle. Scale down your lifestyle such that you can save some money. There's no escaping that. And somebody has to show you that and tell you that hard truth. There's no other golden formula.
So you're right. So the minute that happens, okay, maybe you might compromise for the first couple of years for whatever, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever years, the minute you start compromising, you scale down, you start saving. Post that little bit of, that's when you get a breather. And that's when you can start looking at things outside that space.
I would say that what are these goals that are going to put such a pressure on the person? Okay, you can scale down the goals. All right. So the largest amount of money we want to put aside is for the kids. Okay, and because of peer pressure, they may say, no, I want to send my child to the our beautiful university outside the country, and he has to save for a couple of crores for that.
Yes.
If simply he would or she would say that, okay, if I want to give my child that experience and those abilities and skills, let them borrow some. Let it be on their head too. Why should it be all on my head? Try to get the emotion out of the picture, okay, and share the burden. You'll still make it possible and with lesser stress.
But our Indian mentality is, why should I let my kids start off with a loan or with that burden? Let me provide that to them. Isn't it? I mean, I would say 80-90% of...
Correct. And that is why most of them are stressed. So do you want a stressed life or do you want a balanced life
And a
without
long
that
life.
stress? Okay. And I'll tell you what happens. The moment you choose that approach, balanced approach, take the stress out, your mind opens up so much, you're going to do better at work.
True.
And you will start off a virtuous cycle that because you're better at work, you earn more. And you're able to save more. You first have to get the stress out. Take the uncertainty out.
What's your advice to someone who is over-abused, over-said word, balanced life? Because since you...
Using the term balanced. Okay.
Balanced.
A balanced life obviously means that you, number one, you're living within your means. Number two, you are saving for the future. And then spending on experiences. Today's younger generation are not so gung-ho on assets, but more on experiences.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can find a way of experiencing, draw a lower curve instead of a higher curve, you can still experience. So what happened to our friends who would do backpacking and within a few dollars experience the world?
True.
People don't want to do that today. They want to live the high life.
High life. Yeah.
They want to fly to a different place. They want to experience the best. That's because of the Instagram mentality. Get that out of your head. I have done backpacking. I have stayed in the
Bare minimum.
bare minimum, maybe even unclean, unhygienic places, but I've
But that's
ended up
an experience
experiencing places at the lowest cost. Yeah. We are forgetting that there's a lowest cost alternative till we can afford a higher cost.
True. What's your take on, I mean, since we are talking about this generation, I wouldn't say this generation, but today people are talking about, you said, I rather not invest in an asset, I rather experience it. What's your take on this whole thing about whether to own a house or rent?
All right. So there's actually a deeper psychological thing to this. The very fact that youngsters are asking this question is because they already have a safety net. They're already safe. They're already secure. Why? Because one, the confidence that they have, that they can live their lives through. And why did that confidence come out? There was an older generation
That did that.
that gave them a great education. Okay. There's an older generation. I'm not, please, this is not 100% of the cases, but the bulk of there's an older generation that has saved a lot of money and created a base of assets, which enables a younger generation to go out and take a risk. And that is why you have greater entrepreneurship in the country today.
Very true. Yeah. Because, yeah, you're right. I mean, all of our parents' generation was all about saving for the children, providing for the children, keeping money aside for them. And today, with a large group of people of that generation having saved, there are more people who are ready to take the risk because they have the safety net today. But then
They probably don't realize
they
it.
don't realize. Yeah, that's what I was
That
just
if
about to
something
say.
happened, there is a home to come back to.
There's a roof.
There is a roof that they will inherit at some point of time because the parent created it.
Created it. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is 90% of the generation, right? Or majority of it. But then there are also these small business families, right, where people have multiple generations have actually saved, built legacies, but many of them do not want to continue with the business, but they want to diversify. That is, invest family offices of sorts. What's your take on that?
Okay. So the term family office by itself is not a bad word. It's just a consolidation of strategy for the family, which is great. We advocate formalizing those. But the core of the point that you're making is that the younger generation is not keen to pursue entrepreneurship and rather invest and multiply the wealth. And so they think, okay. That you are seeing in today's 30-year-olds. Okay. You will not see it in the 40-year-olds or the 50-year-olds. It is the 25, 30 and odd that are saying. Why are they saying that? They're seeing that they've just experienced about a decade of two of fabulous markets.
Okay.
Okay. We are going through a golden period where markets, capital markets have done so well, not only in India, in the US also. And in a way to say, passively money has multiplied.
Money has worked for them.
Yes. So they think it can happen forever.
But that's not true.
But markets go through cycles, economies go through cycles. There are good periods, there are bad periods. None of the 30-year-olds have experienced a bad period yet.
Okay.
All right. So the truth will probably hit them hard if and when
That happens.
that happens. Okay. Of course, no one wishes that it would happen. But markets are cyclical. That is the truth of life.
And that correction has to happen.
It will happen.
Yeah.
There will be an excess, there will be a fall, there will be pain. Okay. But if you are running a business, the business earns money. It is not the market,
True.
right? And that is more sustainable. So one should not forget that running a business, operating a business is a more sustainable way of doing it.
Long term.
Yeah. Plus, I think, I may be very idealistic in saying so, but there's an obligation to society. I mean, you have earned your wealth out of society, okay? By creating businesses, by creating employment, you're helping society in turn. And the wealth that comes out of it, some of it goes back. Hopefully you're philanthropic. You have the right mindset to give back to society. I think that cycle is very important to keep.
And you're not just, when you're running a business, it's just not you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to take care of not just one family, but you have to take care of your entire organization.
All the stakeholders.
All the stakeholders, right? People who work for you, people who have believed in you, people who are invested in you. And you're right. So the minute that continues, that grows, it's a larger web that's been...
Yes. And believe me, that is more sustainable. Okay. And if one studies multiple generations, those who have chosen to live off the wealth have not lasted beyond one or two generations. That's all. Then the wealth disappears. It gets spent off. So running a business is more sustainable.
So one is that. Now, especially for people like me, right? Like people who are entrepreneurs who are running their own businesses. What we do is a very creative field. Of course, we spoke about upskilling and keeping, but there should also be a passive line of income. How should go one planning that?
See, creative people like you, okay, it's very difficult It's a different game altogether. And I have worked with painters and musicians in the past to understand that the source of income is not steady.
True.
It comes in bursts. So I really cannot say save every month, because there are times when there's no income. And times there's loads of it. Okay.
Correct.
So we have to work in this uncertainty, and when there is an excess, ensure that it makes up for the lost months. Take it and save it. Okay. There will be probably a time when your creativity is just not working.
Correct.
That is why building the reserve is important. There will be bad times. There will be times when you're trying to find your mojo and nothing
It just doesn't happen.
happen. Okay. So building that reservoir aggressively is important. Creative people don't understand money largely. Okay. Numbers is on the other side of the brain. Okay. So it is very difficult for them to understand money and numbers. So it is so important that they get the right kind of an advisor by their side, who will be their financial guru, who will hold a danda there and maintain the discipline of saving and creating a reserve. Okay. Also imagine that if one is a painter or a dancer and in an accident they lose their limbs, the source of livelihood is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So one needs not only to build this reserve, also need to do the right kind of insurance planning, which will come in at that time and give them a lump sum to bide their way till they figure out what next to do in life, how else to utilize their skills.
So it's a mixed asset that you're talking about. Investment doesn't necessarily mean just mutual funds or bonds, or it has to be a mixed bag of different instruments.
Yes, there's always different instruments involved because you need to diversify and create a basket, okay, that works through thick and thin. So your different instruments are basically of three types. You either bonds, equities, or property. When it comes down to the brass tacks, it's only these three asset classes that you can have.
Correct.
Property requires a large upfront investment, which may not always be possible. You have to save and create that large corpus first
And
before
then-
you buy the property. Okay. Bonds are the most common. That is fixed deposits and bank deposits and so on are bonds. They're most common, but they just don't beat inflation.
Correct.
So as the longer you keep your money in a bank, the more your purchasing power falls. So you're destroying your money, not creating money.
Creating it.
So it is owning businesses through equity that creates wealth. So you should have a reasonable allocation to equity in your portfolio, and then some bonds just for liquidity and stability. The wealth creator is the equity. And when you can afford to buy a property, the property can also help in wealth creation. But don't think buying an apartment is investment.
It's not.
It's a depreciating asset.
Yeah. I mean, buying a car, buying a.
Yes. People think that rents will come in, but that rental yield is hardly 2.5% of the market value. You can do far better in other asset classes. So have property, but have the right kind of property.
Now, so you also, over a period of time, right? I mean, you've also been a mentor to many of the startups. You've seen entrepreneurs. You not just as a financial advisor, but from an overall perspective. And you're also on multiple boards.
True.
Right? What is the biggest challenge that you see when it comes to a startup, a new age entrepreneur who is just starting off? What's the biggest challenge that they?
Okay. In a country like India, it is adequate capital and adequate resources to help in innovation.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So this is a broad ecosystem which is still building up. It is not like the West, where it's a hotbed of innovation. Why? Because the universities are all geared to innovate.
Yeah.
Okay. The government is sufficiently wealthy to support these activities. People are sufficiently prosperous to fund these activities. So it came after a cycle of industrialization that you eventually had a lot of innovation and prosperity, and that's a virtuous cycle. Okay. India is yet to enter into that virtuous cycle.
Okay.
So one needs to have a very brilliant idea and the ability to execute.
Correct.
That is important. So you know that I was once part of Founder Institute.
Yes.
Okay, I was a co-director, and we helped a lot of youngsters figure out whether they want to be entrepreneurs or not. So before they took the jump, they came and they tested out their mettle.
Because you got to have a different mindset. You got to have a different, I don't know, you got to be built differently if you want to take that journey long term.
Correct. And before you give up your job, you figure out whether
Figure out
you're
whether you
cut out
really
for
want.
this or not. And those who are cut out can continue on that. Those who are not, go back to your job and do better at that.
And there's nothing wrong in that.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Absolutely nothing wrong in that.
Nothing wrong. But here's a safe way of figuring out and honing your idea. Okay, how to execute is a critical point. You can have an n number of ideas. Two people would have the same brilliant idea, but only one will win, the one who has the ability to execute that idea in the right manner.
Execute, build the right team
Yes,
at the very early stage. Not say that I can do everything.
correct.
So,
So that rare combination of ability to delegate, manage, execute is what really creates an entrepreneur.
so they should stop asking the question of how and switch the question to who.
Yes, you're right. In a deeper sense, who's to do what, who's to do how. And yeah,
And bring those people on board
Yes.
and delegate and let them.
correct. And make them.
But also, I mean, Hexagon, you just completed 25 years, right? 25 years of Hexagon. And over a period of time, you have also grown in terms of portfolio, in terms of clients. But there are also people who joined at a very early stage and have still with Hexagon,
True.
right? And with tenure also comes expectation. And it's not easy to manage that.
Very true.
How would one go about that?
It's a very clear call one has to take, whether you want growth or you want to stay at a certain level which is manageable for you. Okay. If you choose growth, then there's no other option but to keep growing the top line to sustain the growth of the team. Okay. If you cannot keep growing the business, your team will not be able to fulfill their dreams. So that's a very conscious call you have to take. Do I stay at this level or do I grow the pie? Okay. So I have chosen to grow.
Yeah.
Okay, because I see this as a multi-generational business that even 100 years down the line, Hexagon Wealth will be there, standing strong, serving society, and much bigger than what it is. Whenever you take the growth path, obviously it's going to be more challenging.
True.
Some entrepreneurs have it lucky. They have the right
Very
place
few,
at the
very
right time. Okay. And some have to work hard at it. Some fail. Okay. I think I'm in the category where I'm working hard at it.
But I think you're in the right direction, right? With especially with the next generation Dhruva also joining in, and I think the beauty of it is that personally and professionally, the value system that's been embedded, not just with Dhruva and family, but also with the team. The value system of what Hexagon stands for, what you stand for, what we have. It's been embedded into our DNA. And that is just multiplying, the way I see it. So, as long as that value system is there, is what is going to differentiate you from the rest, for sure. Because I'm not just saying this because you're my uncle, but that's the fact, right? There are other advisors, maybe better returns, better portfolios, better growth, promises. But authenticity and honesty is what differentiates Hexagon and you and the team. And I'm very consciously mentioning Hexagon Wealth as a team because Srikanth, at one point, it was Srikanth is Hexagon, Hexagon is Srikanth, but I think you have also come to a point where Srikanth is different, Hexagon is different in terms of execution, but the foundation remains the same. right? And that is what is important when you're growing an organization, when you're growing the growth that you spoke about. Having that value system is very, very important. And that's something which many of, like even Subrato, when he was on the talk a couple of months ago, spoke about having built that. Once you build that value system, it is not just with Hexagon or just not with this one organization. The minute they move out, that value system goes with them. And that's how you change the community, you change the thinking. Coming back to, you spoke about the philanthropic part of it, all that. So I think as any entrepreneur, this is my take, any entrepreneur who wants to grow, there's product, there's service, there's all that. Along with that, as by default, the vision, the foundation of authenticity, being true, should be part of their portfolio, part of their vision, part of their growth, whatever it is. That's very important. You build that, rest will follow. Because rest, I feel, is materialistic. This is more spiritual. This is more, what's the word? It's in you. And that's very, very important, I feel.
Yes. I've been extremely fortunate in the aspect that the people who have been part of my team in the present and in the past, and I hope in the future, have shared in my value system. So it is no longer my value system, it is the organizational culture. It has just happened. It has grown, it has become. And it is like a magnet. We attract likes. We only attract those who already agree with our culture. And through the years, our culture is out there. People know what kind of an organization, and those who identify with it come. Not only team members, clients also.
Clients also.
So today, it's so beautiful. I am mentally in sync with all my clients. We are one. It cannot be that they are thinking differently and I am thinking differently. We come with the same set of values, and somehow it has happened that because of this, my clients are not greedy clients. They are well balanced.
Beautiful.
Okay. They don't try to do the wrong things to earn more money. Not only in the investment life, in their professional life, in their business life, none of them would think of doing an out of the way kind of thing to earn more money. So our philosophy goes through and through.
Like you said, it
And
attracts.
the youngsters who are with me, who have been with me in the past, I think the trick is they came in fresh from college. They were willing to be shaped. Because they were willing to be shaped, their foundation is this value system of integrity, of serving. Okay. And even after those that have left Hexagon and gone on, whichever organization they've gone to, they've practiced the same value system, which has been responsible for their growth.
Beautiful.
Now the industry knows that if somebody is from Hexagon, they come with a certain set of values. Okay.
And that's another way of building a legacy.
Yes. It is a legacy that has been built and is already being lived. Okay.
Right.
And those who come to a Hexagon now understand what our legacy is, what our culture is, and I'm only attracting such kind of youngsters. I'm so happy.
Beautiful.
I do not have to struggle. And our business model is such that there cannot be dishonesty.
Exactly, because people are trusting their money, their life savings, their future in your hand.
Correct.
You cannot afford to have that.
Yeah. There is no unsaid, unwritten agenda. There's only one agenda, and that is the prosperity of the client. And our value statement says that. It says clearly that our prosperity would be a result of the client's prosperity. The client has to be prosperous first. And then our prosperity will be a derivative. It'll just be an outcome. It'll flow through.
Beautiful.
So that is a process. We work for that. The outcome, which would be our prosperity also, is that it'll happen. And since I'm not under pressure from VCs and shareholders who want quarter-on-quarter results, we are able to live out this philosophy. And in the long term, it's working.
It will, because the minute, again, going back to that whole stress thing that we spoke about, the minute you're under pressure of short-term high returns,
Yes.
everything will just,
We're looking for shortcuts.
you're looking for shortcuts.
And they're never right.
And it's the same thing with riding, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, you decide to take a shortcut, you will go
Get
through
into a
that, beaten roads with,
Yeah. There would be
No
bad
joy.
roads. Correct.
and you're tired end of it.
Correct. So a shortcut is a bad road, and the long road is the one that is meant to be experienced
Correct.
and gives you the joy.
Again, the question is, should I take the road less traveled? I wouldn't know, because I never took that road.
So to take the road less traveled, you need to be equipped for it.
Equipped for it.
All right.
See, that's the thing, right? There have been phases in life, but for me, it is photography that led to more travel, and photography, travel, and then later you coaxing me, or rather, Ishani telling me to buy the Harley at 40, and you actually finding me a Harley at 40 led to the rides.
Yeah.
But it's that journey,
True.
right? Whether it is work, whether it is pleasure, it's been the journey that has kind of defined who I am. It has defined us as to who we are, right?
Very true.
And we are blessed that way. Very, very, very few people can say that
Yeah.
we have got a chance to experience the ups and downs. But no matter what, one thing is common, that we always come out smiling. Whether it's good or bad, we come out smiling because we know that it's just a dip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a matter of time that things will take a turn.
True. It is like the masala dosa. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how you attack your masala dosa says a lot about you. Okay. I've seen the way I eat my masala dosa. I've seen the way my friends and my family members, each of them have a different way of, enjoying their masala dosa. Okay. If you start from one end and work your way into the center where the masala is, okay, then I think you're the patient sort. You're willing to wait till you come to the good part.
Good part.
All right. If you go right into the middle, break it off in the middle and get it, then you're not patient. You want your results now.
Now, instant results.
Instant. So that is instant gratification. Okay. So when it comes to money, instant gratification tendency is very dangerous. Okay. The moment you have money, the moment you have a desire, you spend off your money. You're not willing to wait for a moment, think about it, and figure out, is it necessary or not? Can I afford it or not? And then spend. The moment you postpone your gratification, half your desires go out that way. So getting out of that instant gratification tendency is great. And especially if you're trying to teach children the value of money, because children are very impulsive. They go into toy store, Mama, I want that. No, I want it now.
Correct.
And the parent is very indulgent. They'll buy them immediately. So where they don't get the chance to learn that instant gratification is bad, postponing makes you think and rationalize your decision and then come back. Okay. So this is about the masala dosa. Either you can be patient, you can have a future orientation, or attack and want instant gratification. And the best part about it is when you're eating your masala dosa, you don't know where the masala is. Is it in the middle or in the left or in the right? So life is never fair. You have to work your way through life, and somewhere the masala comes. Be patient. Don't give up on life.
You know what? I think we'll just stop. I want to stop at that note of Masala Dosa. But it's been a fantastic conversation. I don't know, we spoke about bikes, we spoke about travel, we spoke about life, we spoke about finance, we spoke about entrepreneurship. My God, there's so much that we spoke today.
True.
I'm so glad we documented this.
Yeah.
Right?
It was wonderful. It was for me also a recap of all the wonderful moments of my life. Right? And we have to ensure this extrapolates. Okay. Which means that you need to ride.
More.
Yes, more.
Forget more. I think I should start writing again. Yeah, as I always say, every conversation that I've had with my guests is a way to find my mojo. And I hope you find your mojo too. This is Mayur signing off.